I thought that I would do a kind of quick run through of the different types of aromatic medicine preparations that we will be exploring together here in this space. The first type of extract I want to talk about is a very simple one, and that is an extract made with water, also known as a tea. Sometimes people refer to water-based extracts as tisanes, and tisanes are kind of a lightweight version of a tea. If you make a tea with a tea bag that you get at the store, that is probably more like a tisane. But when it comes to using water for extracting medicinal properties in more of a kind of robust way, the two most common preparations that are referred to in herbalism are infusions and something called a decoction. What an infusion is basically hot water poured over top of a plant material, whether that be fresh or dry, and that then it's covered up. So we have a covered vessel like a teapot or maybe a jar like this with a lid on it. And that is left to sit for a period of time. And generally with infusions, if we're drinking them hot and consuming them hot or warm, I usually recommend about 20 minutes or so. Now, the really important thing when you're doing an infusion with aromatic plants is that all of those molecules that have an aroma to them, right, that we're trying to capture in our extract, are very volatile. And so they evaporate into the atmosphere very, very quickly, specifically under the influence of heat. And so the reason why it's really important to cover up the infusion, for example, putting that lid on that teapot or making sure you have a lid on your jar, is just so we can trap those aromatic or those aroma molecules into the infusion, and they don't escape into the atmosphere. A decoction, on the other hand, is more of a aggressive sort of water-based extract, which requires that you do a simmering on a heat source for a period of time. And this is a preparation that we tend to use when we're focusing more on, kind of harder, more dense plant material. For example, roots and berries and barks. And roots and berries and barks, if we're working with them for their aromatic medicine, we're going to have to remember again that this boiling process or simmering process and the heat is going to liberate those aroma molecules out into the environment. And so we're going to want to make sure that we keep our decoctions covered. And so that way we can, for as much as we possibly can, that we keep the aromatic or those aroma molecules trapped into that decoction. Okay, so the next type of menstruum that I want to touch on is alcohol. And alcohol extracts of aromatic plants or medicinal plants in general are referred to as tinctures. Alcohol is a really amazing menstruum. And it's an amazing menstruum because not only does it extract all different kinds of plant-based molecules, right? For example, we have, when we talked about water-based extractions with infusions and decoctions, you're only going to get the water-soluble compounds out of an infusion or a decoction. But what alcohol does is that it provides both an extraction for water-based as well as alcohol-based molecules, right? So this is where we're going to be getting a much more full spectrum of constituents, a full spectrum of compounds from the aromatic plant. So we've talked about water and we've talked about alcohol, and some people don't want to use alcohol to create extracts from plants, and that's totally okay. Not everyone can do alcohol, right? So there are some alternatives, and they aren't really alternatives, but they do provide their own benefits, even if they aren't able to do the full job that alcohol can when it comes to extracting. So the first one that I want to talk to you about is vegetable glycerin. And that's this stuff here. in this jug. As you can see, it's clear. It's very strong. It's a very sweet tasting vegetable glycerin. And this is a byproduct, or I don't even know if you want to call it a byproduct, but it is a product of the vegetable oil industry, right? So vegetable glycerin is a very specific process of taking vegetable fats and turning it into this. And so vegetable glycerin is a wonderful preservative, especially if you can try to keep your water to glycerin ratio at about 50%. But one of the things that I really love about vegetable glycerin is that it is able to capture the aromatic, if you will, we call it aromatic, but the aromatic or flavor and aroma molecules in a medicinal plant. Vegetable glycerin isn't that great at extracting a bunch of other things, right? So we can use vegetable glycerin if we're focusing specifically on the benefits of the essential oil or those aroma compounds within a plant. Another menstruum or solvent that I want to talk to you about that can be employed both internally and externally is apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar, or vinegar in general. So with the vinegar extract, again, there's external applications as well in cosmetics and, using it for facial toners, et cetera, et cetera. But I like the raw apple cider vinegar the most because if I'm using it internally, it comes with, especially if it's a live vinegar, so it comes with the mother in it. There's all kinds of enzymes and minerals already in the vinegar that just add an extra nutritive element to that preparation, which I tend to really enjoy. That being said, just like vegetable glycerin, apple cider vinegar, raw apple cider vinegar, is already, because it's already quite full of its own stuff, there's not a lot of room in it for all of the other compounds from the plant. And similarly to vegetable glycerin, there's certain things that it's very good at extracting, and there's certain things that it's not very good at extracting. So apple cider vinegar is really good at extracting minerals, right? So if we're working with a plant that has a lot of nutritive value as well as aromatic value, doing an extract in apple cider vinegar is a really great idea. Vitamins and minerals. I think a perfect example of this is pine, like white pine, which is really super high in vitamin C. And if you do an extract in vinegar, you can get that vitamin C into your vinegar, right? So these nutritive compounds will come out into the vinegar, as will the flavor and the aromatics. I'm going to move on now to something that I really enjoy doing, which is putting aromatic herbs into honey. Honey is a big one. And again, I tend to use raw honey. It's full of its own enzymes and minerals and things like that. And it makes for a really great carrier of especially dried powdered herbs. And so if I have a bunch of a dried herb left over that's, I want to just, I don't know, I want to do something nice with it, I might do a honey infusion. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the different substances that we can use to extract aromatic medicine out of a plant and into something that we can then imbibe or ingest and bring into our bodies. And there's some crossover with the fact that some of these preparations we can also use externally. And so we're in this area now where I want to talk about, some of the preparations that we can, aromatic medicine preparations that we can use both internally and externally. So I already touched on, apple cider vinegar and vinegar extracts kind of having this dual purpose. But that isn't to say that water-based extracts like infusions and decoctions can't be used externally, because they can, especially as a water-based portion of a lotion, for example, or added to your bath water, or done as a hair rinse, or things like that. So water-based preparations can also be used externally. So can the alcohol extracts or the tinctures, especially if we are diluting them with something else. And one of the most common ways that you can use an alcoholic extract externally is in the form of what's called a liniment. And a liniment is a combination of equal parts alcoholic tincture extract and infused oil. And it sounds like, how would you use that externally? Well, it can be kind of messy. I will tell you this. Liniments are not always the cleanest of things, but they're really, really great to support, circulation and relief with painful joints and sort of more like acute things that are going on where you're wanting to apply the herbs to the skin in the hopes of them getting soaked in and utilized by the kind of musculoskeletal system. The other side of a liniment is the infused oil. And so I want to talk to you about infused oils of aromatic plants, because this is another really lovely way to pull out the aroma and even the flavor of these really delicious herbs. An infused oil is taking basically a fat. So this could be an animal-based fat, like a tallow. It could also be a vegetable-based fat, right? So like an olive oil or a grapeseed oil or a sunflower oil, you name it. And you're using that to extract the qualities of the plant. Now, oil is a fat. It's a lipid, right? And so the only things that it's going to be able to pull out of an aromatic plant are the compounds that are fat soluble, right? But lucky for us, aromatic molecules, so the aroma of plants or the essential oil of plants, is lipid soluble. So hydrosols, also known as hydrolates, you're going to see them referred to in both ways. So what is a hydrosol? So I have this little spray bottle here. I also have this is what it looks like in its all of its glory, just sitting in a bottle. And so basically what a hydrosol is the water-based portion of a steam distillation. Steam distillation using something like the copper alembic still, like the one that's sitting behind me. And so the steam distillation process, right? So steam distilled, sometimes also hydro distilled. There's a difference between the two. But the same process is involved where there is a steam that is forced through, or hot water and steam forced through plant material, which liberates all of the volatile compounds, which are like the essential oil and the things that we can smell, the aromatic molecules, and carries it up in the steam, which is where it's then condensed back down into its liquid state. And from that state, we get the hydrosol or hydrolat as the water portion and the essential oil, which floats on the top, right? So essential oils and hydrosols/hydrolats are produced using the same process. I want to move on to the final, which is very simple. And for those of you who have been with the Northwest School of Aromatic Medicine for some time, you know that there's an expertise in creating incense from aromatic plants. And so I just wanted to, give a wink wink to the fact that the Northwest School of Aromatic Medicine has an amazing course on how to create your own incense out of aromatic plants, because of course the burning of plants and for their aromatic effects and for their aromatic medicine is a very old human tradition that spans place and time. So it's just to remind you that that is also an option. Thinking about all of the different aromatic plants we're going to be talking about, that you can always experiment with them as an incense.